Hi! If you don't know me, I am Ocean. I am a trans masculine person and I came out in 2012 when I was 17 and began my medical and social transition. I've got a couple of questions that have been submitted through Instagram and YouTube, so I'm just going to be going through them and be like your trans big brother with advice, but also I'm not professional, so please don't be mad at me if you take this advice. I'm just going to tell you what I did. Okay. First question is, how did you decide on a name? So I've had two names. My first name was Leo, which I chose in 2012. Leo Matthias, which is kind of cute. I chose that name through asking my parents what they were going to call me if I was born a boy. I think I had a granddad called Leo that I never met, but they wanted to honor him, so they chose that name. And then Matthias, I think we looked through a bunch of baby names together, me, my mum and my dad, and we wanted to keep my birth initials the same, so we just looked at names beginning with M, and I really liked the name Matt, so we chose Matthias. I think it's cute. For Ocean, that was a totally different experience, and that was in the last year. I just felt like the name kind of chose me and it was time for me to take that name. I just heard the name, I felt a really strong connection to it, so I was like, call me Ocean, and people did. This question is, how do you deal with trans body ideals like needing to be thin and having lots of muscle? This has been a massive struggle for me that has been ongoing. I've always been a chubbier kid and a bigger boy. I have gone through a lot of things to try and change that to get the approval of other people, even when that is like surgeons and doctors and professionals. So I really can empathize with anyone who feels a lot of pressure to be thin and muscular and look like a lot of the trans people we see in the media. What I did was surround myself with people that look like me, even if that meant unfollowing people that were thin and muscular. Some people might think that's quite harsh, but unless you are a plus size or fat person going through it, you will never truly understand how fat phobic society is and how casual and accepted it is in everyday life. So sometimes you just need to remove yourself from that entirely and live your life with people that look like you. I unfollowed anyone that made before and after pictures where they had lost weight or were like documenting their weight loss or anything like that. I didn't want anything to do with it. Another thing I did was telling the people around me that I wasn't going to engage in any conversations about diet culture or weight loss and not to comment on my body. And then every time I said something negative about my appearance, I made sure to correct it and say something nice about myself, which is also quite difficult, but I think it can be really useful. And then now I just don't really say anything negative about myself, even in my head. And the last thing is to unlearn that fat is a bad word or a bad thing. I feel like once you understand that being fat is not the worst thing in the world, it's not a bad thing, it's just something that some people are, including myself, then it feels less like I need to change it, you know? And it's very difficult and it takes a long time to unlearn and like come to a place where you feel okay with yourself and not feel like you need to compare yourself to other people. I still struggle with it sometimes, but way less than I did like 3 or 4 years ago. Next question is, where's a good place to get a binder? It's been like 12 years since I've binded, so companies have changed a lot since then, and I do not actually know what the recommended place is right now, so if anyone else has any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Tips for your first few months on testosterone. My biggest tip would be to document it, because in the beginning it's going to feel really slow and you're probably going to feel like nothing's changing, but if you take videos and take pictures, then you'll be able to look back each month and see if anything has changed, and it probably has. So document your voice, take pictures of your body, your face, Write down how you're feeling, and yeah, just document it, because I wish I documented my earlier years on hormones, and now it's all gone. The next question is, how do you know if you're emotionally ready for surgery? I think this is really different for everyone and difficult to kind of just say one thing, but if you know all of the risks, do all your research, make sure you have listened to other people going through it in an unbiased way. Realize that nervousness isn't a bad thing. If you're nervous, then that just means that you're processing the risks and the potential outcomes. And also know that there's no rush. Like, I know that dysphoria can be really challenging to deal with, and I can't say anything because I had top surgery quite early on, but not having top surgery doesn't make you less trans, and you don't have to get it now or ever to be valid as trans. Let me just make it a bit darker. Next question, how do you decide on who and where to get your top surgery done? So I got my top surgery in Thailand. I got recommended someone through, I think it was someone who worked at my school. They knew someone who had top surgery there, and that was the only person I knew, so we went for them. And it turns out one of my closest friends here actually went to the same person a couple years apart, so that's fun. Search for top surgery results on YouTube, like 1 year post-op, and see who people have gone with. Whenever I'm making a difficult decision, I always do a pro and con list, but I will like number each point with how important it is, and then I will tally it up on each list and then see which one comes higher. If the pro of something is like 14 and the con is like 13, then I'm like, oh, this person is good, you know? So maybe do that with a bunch of surgeons and then see who comes out highest. I need to like put the sun away, hang on. Next question is, how can you support a sibling post-op surgery recovery? First of all, this is cute. I love that you're supporting your sibling. One thing I would do is find out what their love language is, and then what you do to show them love and support will kind of stem from that. You can do the quiz online. When I was recovering from top surgery, I hated asking people for things, so I just did it because I didn't want to be a nuisance. So I would pick things up from the top shelf to get a plate. If I needed it, I would I would stretch my arms up if I needed to, bend down if I needed to, just because I didn't want to inconvenience someone and ask them to do it. But if someone had done that for me, like if they had seen that I was reaching up and just grabbed it for me without saying, do you want me to get it for you, then that would have helped a lot, and I don't know how that would have impacted my recovery. So things like cleaning wherever they're staying, cooking food for them, grabbing things that are high up, getting their cables for them if they need to charge their phone and things like that. Also, remind them that it's okay to be upset or cry after surgery. I was really scared that crying after surgery would make people think that I regretted it, and I didn't, but I was just very emotional, and I cry after every surgery I have, so I just needed that reassurance that a lot of people cry after surgery and it's fine. I would also celebrate it. It's such a big event. It's really scary. It's really emotional. A lot of people see it as like their second birthday. So a little card, a little gift, a little care package would be really cute. And also like remember the date that it happened so you can congratulate them the next year on their anniversaries and stuff, because that always means a lot to me when people remember. This is where their love language comes in, because if their love language is gift giving, then a little present would be really meaningful. The last question is, how do you protect your energy and health while being open about being trans? I can only speak for myself, but what I do is surround myself with trans and queer people, because then I don't have to spend my time educating and correcting and just doing things that I don't want to do. I feel really lucky to live in Brighton, where it's very queer. All of my friends, for the most part, are trans, and most of my cis friends are queer in some way. So I feel very lucky to have that in my life. So I would say go to support groups, find friends online, just surround yourself with queerness and the queer community. Another thing I do is just block people really liberally. I think if people see hate, then they're more confident in following and hating as well. So as soon as I see a negative comment, I will block with no second chances. If you come into my space, my online home, and tell me nasty things, then I'm gonna not even ask you to leave, I'm gonna kick you out. So less of the haters and more of the lovers, I would say. But yeah, I hope that helped. If you've got any more questions, let me know. If you want me to do another one of these. Thanks so much for watching, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.